Welcome back, everybody. We are back together here with another video. And who is Disney's favorite partner?
The CCP.
The CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. Now, Disney, man, they've really been struggling to get some products put over there at in China. But they're actually going to have some movies released here. And as you guys can see here, the Walt Disney Company and Marvel Studios to educate actors in order to placate Communist China, aka bending the knee. This is disappointing to me. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think it's the Walt Disney should, accompany the movie that toward, the audience, Americans audience and like people around the world, not just the CCP.
Yeah, well, you're going to get two versions of movies, like Lightyear. I don't believe Lightyear was actually released in China. So therefore, because they had the gay stuff in it, that was not going to happen in China. But if you don't like it over here, the Walt Disney Company criticizes you, but when it comes to China, they remain silent. So according to this, they're pretty much going to be training their actors in order to not offend China. It's okay to offend you and me, but when it comes to China, zip up your mouth, no criticism. That's hypocrisy if you ask me.
Yes, they just want, I think Disney just want money, because like they make, TV series and movie that like contain, the algae, whatever.
Yeah, the alphabet stuff, yeah.
And like, the, what you guys call gender equality or something like that?
Well,
or representation, diversity.
The DIE, which is diversity, inclusion, and equity. Pretty much that's where when you put that stuff in movies, then it's just going to die.
Yeah, and they just want to represent people, but they have to understand like they put the person in that role does not represent everyone.
I mean, when they start changing source material, I got a major problem with that. But let's read a little bit of this here. A new report claims that the Walt Disney Company and Marvel Studios will begin educating their actors and executives in order to placate Communist China to ensure the release of future films in the country, because they have been struggling a little bit getting stuff released over there. The report comes from the Hollywood Reporters Kim Masters and Alice Weprin, as they covered an investor battle inside the Walt Disney Company, pitting current CEO Bob Iger against former Marvel executive Ike Perlmutter and hedge fund manager Nelson Pleitz, who wants a seat on the Disney board. Amid the report, Masters and Werpin claim that future Marvel films will not feature any Chinese villains, but that, quote, the talent will be well schooled to watch their words. So no Chinese villains, and that doesn't surprise me because who's the main villains, in most of these movies now is going to be white people. Mm-hmm. Now look at, for example, look at Obi-Wan Kenobi. Reva was a bad person, but she was the only one that was redeemed. Why? Probably because she was black. And that was a terrible character, by the way. Terrible. But no Chinese villains. And of course, there are some in the comic books. But now?
They don't want it. I mean, because like they want to portray them as self-righteous no matter what.
Yeah, maybe they're gonna have Chinese characters that are gonna be all good, and they won't be the villains. Because I'm pretty sure the CCP is not going to allow that to happen right there. But you know what? Some of these actors in the Marvel movies are pretty outspoken, like Mark Ruffalo, who actually plays the Hulk. He's terrible, by the way. always criticizing this country right here.
He's from Canada, right?
No. Mark Ruffalo is from here.
Oh, okay.
He plays the Hulk in the MCU movies.
Okay.
But he is so woke. He's always criticizing this country here. Never says anything about China. Never. I mean, he is a super woke activist. He may be the most woke person in Hollywood, to tell you the truth. This report comes after the Walt Disney Company's official Chinese social media accounts announced that Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania secured theatrical releases in China. Now, Wakanda Forever has been out for a while here. Now, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, that's not out yet, but it's actually going to get released in China.
Well, there's a news on Breitbart, that Disney get China to live ban on Marvel movies like Black Panther.
Yeah, that's why they actually got to get released.
Ant-Man, release day, because CEO Bob Iger, he has relationship with the communist China.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And since he's been back, I mean, he's only been back on the job for like a few months or so now. So probably securing that relationship with China could have been definitely at the top of the agenda, because the Walt Disney Company has been losing so much money. And if you look at the population of China, they got over 1 billion people. So they want some of that money. Now, China, the CCP keeps way more money for themselves than over here. I believe they keep like 75% of the receipts over there, and the studios only get like 25%. I could be wrong about that, but I'm not really sure. But their country is like 4 times bigger than the United States. That's a bunch of people to watch movies.
Wait, so is Disney going to do since he's trying to secure the film industry in China, so they just going to continue to do the movie that is for LGBTQ diversity here, and then do movie in China, but they're going to cut out some stuff?
Bingo. They're going to cut it out. Now, I don't think you're necessarily going to see probably an exclusive, like LGBT movie. It'll never get released in China. But they're definitely going to make those cuts, because CCP, the communists, they have the final say on that movie getting released in China.
Yes.
And Hollywood, I believe, is just, they're too far in bed with China because they want the money. They're willing to sacrifice all type of morality to get that money. But you know what? That probably wouldn't have been too much of a problem if they weren't so socially active over here.
The thing is, I heard the news. It was one of the article on Breitbart. Even though Avatar 2, The Way of Water, they make a lot of money for Disney.
Yeah.
But it's not very popular in China, isn't it?
I'm not really sure. But the box office for Avatar: Way of Water, $2 billion. And I believe the break even was something probably like 1.5 billion. So that thing is making quite a bit of money, and it doesn't seem to be slowing down. So even without China, let's say if it wasn't in China, Avatar is making a whole bunch of money. James Cameron, man, is one of the greatest ever. He's had some of the biggest box office movies of all time.
So why does Disney want to, bend the knee to China if Avatar 2 still can make a lot of money within China?
But remember, that's only one movie. Avatar is one movie. Avatar is really James Cameron.
No, if
Avatar movies aren't coming out all the time.
If Disney, just hire some writer, or director where, they make movie not woke movie, then I'm sure they don't need to bend the knee to China.
But they wanna make the woke movies. The thing is, though, with Avatar is, like I said, James Cameron is a filmmaking genius.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had Avatar, he's had Titanic, Those are two of the top three biggest movies at the box office of all time. Now Avatar made $2 billion, and the original Avatar, I believe, made closer to $3 billion. I mean, it's insane. That's only one aspect of it, because you're not going to get Avatar movies like that anymore. I mean, the days, I believe, of MCU movies making $2 billion, I believe those days are over with. That ended with Endgame. They haven't come close to $2 billion. Now, technically, Spider-Man No Way Home, that's technically a Sony movie, even though they were associated with the MCU. So Sony actually gets most of the money, and that was $2 billion. There's nothing that the MCU has planned that I can actually see getting $2 billion. Ant-Man and the Wasp to Quantumania, nah, that's not going to do $2 billion. I mean, actually, those Ant-Man movies anyway, they weren't super popular at the box office anyway, as far as I remember. So, I don't know. But the actors, coming out, I guess, know what they really should say, actually, to all the actors? Let's just stop with the political statements in general. That's all they got to do. Why don't we just get back to writing good stories based on the comic books? We have the template here. Let's stick to that, but they don't want to do that. They want to do something like, hey, we're gonna make a movie for you based off this comic book, and we're gonna race swap everybody because you're Asian. Oh, also, by the way, you see that comic book character right there, Captain America? We see that you're black, so you know what? We're gonna give you Black Captain America. Nobody asked for that.
No.
If you're a Captain America fan, you didn't ask for a Black Captain America. So, but I'm not surprised. I'm really not surprised that that Disney is actually trying to do this now, because they had a bad year last year. Disney had a really, really bad year. Hollywood overall had a really bad year. So they want to follow the money to China.
I mean, are they taking risks where do they know what kind of movie that really attract Chinese people over there?
They don't care. They don't care. They just look at the pure size of China and the number of people, and then they'll go like, well, for example, though, I mean, that's one thing. Star Wars doesn't do that great over there in China.
No,
it doesn't do that great over there. But the MCU movies, when they're released in China, they usually do pretty good. So I don't know.
Oh, they are more into thing like Titanic movie like that, Terminator.
I wonder how Terminator did in China. I mean, we're talking 33 years ago, 32 years ago for that. So I really don't know. But the Chinese box office is huge. It's like the biggest one in the world, maybe next to India. Definitely probably next to India is what I'm thinking. So, but I think that's going to wrap it up. You have anything else you want to say about this?
No.
Well, guys, that's going to wrap up the show. We will catch you on the next video. Until then, we will see you next time.
Goodbye.